Well, hundreds of Family Dollar stores in the Mid-South are closed due to a rat infestation.
Yeah, the FDA is warning about potentially unsafe products sold at their stores.
A federal inspector walked into a discount store on this list and found rodent droppings in the food storage area, not near the food storage area, in it. Another discount chain on this list has been shrinking its products for 3 consecutive years while keeping the price exactly the same and betting you would never notice. But you noticed. 5 discount chains at the end of this list are doing the opposite of everything above. 5 discount chains that are actively harming the customers who trust them most. 5 that have actually earned that trust. Keep a tight grip on your wallet. Let's go. Worst number 5. Walmart. Walmart is the largest retailer on earth, $648 billion in annual revenue, more locations than any competitor in American retail history, and a discount promise that has been quietly hollowed out in ways that most customers only discover when they start weighing things at home. The shrinkflation documentation at Walmart through 2024 and 2025 is extensive and specific. A consumer advocacy organization tracked over 200 grocery and household products across Walmart locations in 8 states. The finding was not subtle. 67% of monitored products had experienced package size reductions without proportional price decreases between 2022 and 2025. A cereal box that held 18 ounces in 2022 holds 14 ounces today at the same shelf price. A 12-roll paper towel package is now a 10-roll package at an identical price point. Walmart pocketed the difference and said nothing. A shopper in Illinois who tracked her weekly grocery spend and package sizes over 18 months documented her findings in a consumer forum. The price looks the same. The bag is definitely not the same. I started weighing things at home after the 3rd time I felt cheated. Started weighing things at home. That is what the world's largest retailer has done to the trust of a customer who shopped there for years. The self-checkout expansion compounds the problem. Fewer staffed lanes. Fewer employees monitoring the departments where trained staff are needed to maintain product rotation and temperature compliance. A 2024 consumer investigation found that self-checkout price discrepancies at Walmart locations were significantly more likely to overcharge than undercharge. Every error in the company's favor. Walmart's supplier oversight problem is structural and significant. The company sources products from thousands of suppliers across dozens of countries, and the audit infrastructure for that supply chain has been repeatedly flagged by independent consumer safety organizations as insufficient relative to the volume of product moving through it. Product recalls linked to Walmart-stocked items have been a consistent feature of FDA and USDA announcements through 2024 and 2025, across categories including food, personal care, and household goods. When the company is this large and the supply chain is this diffuse, the customer absorbs the risk that the audit infrastructure cannot cover. Walmart is publicly traded. It answers to shareholders who want the number to go up every quarter. The shrinkflation, the self-checkout errors, the staffing reduction, all of it is the quarterly earnings strategy wearing a discount store as a costume. The chain at worst number 4 uses a more sophisticated mechanism to take money from customers who trust it. One that most customers never catch because it requires comparing 2 receipts from the same store on 2 different visits. Worst number 4. Kroger. Kroger is the largest traditional supermarket chain in America, $150 billion in annual revenue, and a pricing algorithm story that generated congressional attention, consumer outrage, and a level of trust damage that the company has not recovered from. In 2024, investigative reporting revealed that Kroger had tested and in some markets implemented digital shelf tags capable of adjusting prices in real time, based on demand, based on time of day, based on customer data signals that Kroger had collected through its loyalty program. The same surge pricing model that Wendy's tried to bring to burgers and Starbucks tried to bring to lattes, now applied to groceries, to milk, to bread, to the products that families buy because they have no choice. Kroger denied it was surge pricing. They called it dynamic value communication. A Kroger customer in Ohio who noticed price changes on items between picking them up and reaching the checkout described the experience in a consumer complaint filed with the state attorney general. The price on the shelf when I picked it up was different from the price at the register. When I asked, 3 different employees gave me 3 different explanations. None of them matched. None of them matched. Kroger's labor record compounds the trust problem. Multiple major strikes through 2024 and 2025. Workers citing wage stagnation, chronic understaffing, and healthcare benefit reductions. Understaffed stores produce empty shelves, infrequent produce rotation, and departments running without the trained employees needed for food safety compliance. A Kroger employee in Michigan who participated in the 2024 strike action Describe the conditions to a local television crew. We have people running 3 departments simultaneously. Nobody is checking temperatures. Nobody is rotating product. And then management wonders why inspection scores are declining. Inspection scores are declining because management decided throughput mattered more than staffing. The failed merger attempt with Albertsons also consumed years of executive attention and hundreds of millions in legal spending that could have gone toward the store renovations and technology upgrades that Kroger locations visibly needed. The distraction showed up in deferred maintenance, aging refrigeration equipment, and a customer experience so inconsistent across markets that calling these the same chain requires genuine generosity. The chain at worst number 3 has a more alarming story than pricing algorithms, one that involves a federal criminal conviction, and a product category that no customer should ever have to think twice about. Worst number 3. Family Dollar. Family Dollar's food safety record produced one of the most significant federal enforcement actions in the history of American retail. In 2022, FDA investigators found conditions at a Family Dollar distribution center in West Memphis, Arkansas, that the official inspection report described as among the most severe rodent infestation findings documented by this office in a food distribution facility. Among the most severe. In the documented history of that federal office, live rodents, dead rodents, rodent feces throughout storage areas, urine staining on surfaces where food products, medications, and cosmetics were stored before shipping to retail locations. Family Dollar was forced to recall products from over 400 stores across 6 states. The recall covered food products, over-the-counter medications, and cosmetics, everything that had passed through that facility. Family Dollar pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges, paid a substantial fine, and continued operating. Subsequent inspections at other Family Dollar distribution facilities found conditions consistent with the original West Memphis findings. The criminal conviction did not restructure the operational model that produced the contamination. It produced a press release. The merger of Family Dollar's parent company with other discount retail operations through 2024 and 2025 created additional layers of corporate complexity that made accountability for individual store and distribution center conditions harder to trace. Responsibility was passed between regional management structures that shifted as the corporate ownership itself shifted. A customer in Arkansas who had regularly purchased food products from a Family Dollar in the recall zone submitted a formal complaint to the FDA. I bought packaged food there every week for years. When I found out what was in that warehouse, I felt physically ill thinking about what I had brought home. Physically ill thinking about what she had brought home. Family Dollar's customer base is disproportionately low income. The people least able to shop elsewhere. The people with the fewest resources to absorb the discovery that their groceries came from a criminally contaminated distribution network. If watching a corporation plead guilty to federal criminal charges and then continue operating the same model that produced the conviction makes your blood boil, subscribe to this channel right now. We document every retail failure, every criminal conviction, and every press release designed to make you forget about both. Done? Good. Worst number 2. Dollar General. Dollar General has 19,000 locations across America, more stores than any other retailer in the country. Planted specifically in rural and underserved communities, where Dollar General is frequently the only accessible retail option within 15 miles, and the company has used that captive customer positioning to run one of the most negligent retail operations in the discount category. In 2023, federal regulators imposed a record fine on Dollar General following findings of unsafe conditions at multiple distribution centers and stores, rodent activity in food storage areas, improper food storage conditions, products past their labeled dates remaining on shelves. A FDA inspection report from a cited Tennessee location stated, live rodents observed in dry storage area adjacent to food products intended for sale. Live rodents. Adjacent to food products. In a store where families are buying groceries because there is nowhere else to go. Dollar General locations are frequently operated with 1 or 2 employees per shift. One person. Managing a full retail floor of food, household products, medications, and fresh produce. No capacity for cleaning, no capacity for rotation, no capacity for pest management. A former Dollar General store manager quoted in a 2024 labor complaint described the conditions without corporate filter. You cannot maintain food safety with 1 employee on a Saturday. You are choosing between serving the customers in front of you and doing everything the safety protocol requires. You cannot do both. You cannot do both. Follow-up inspections conducted after the 2023 federal fine produced a particularly troubling finding. Several previously cited locations had not fully corrected the underlying conditions that triggered the original violations. The corrective action taken appeared designed to pass a single follow-up inspection, rather than to address the structural staffing shortfall that produced the rodent and storage violations in the first place. Dollar General's stock trades on the New York Stock Exchange. Its executives collected performance bonuses in 2024. Its store managers were choosing between customer service and food safety on single employee Saturday shifts. The worst entry on this list did not get here through negligence. It got here through deliberate decisions made by people who knew exactly what the data showed and chose the pricing strategy anyway. Worst number 1. Safeway. Safeway has been serving American communities for over 100 years. Owned by Albertsons Companies. $80 billion in annual revenue. Thousands of locations. A century of customer loyalty built on the premise of reliable, trustworthy grocery retail. Here is what Albertsons did with that century of trust. They built a two-tier pricing system specifically designed to extract money from the customers least equipped to notice or fight back. The mechanism is the loyalty app. Sale prices at Safeway are only available to customers who have downloaded the app and registered a loyalty card. Customers without the app pay the full price, the higher price, for the exact same product on the exact same shelf. The customers least likely to have a smartphone, least likely to navigate a digital loyalty program, least likely to notice the price discrepancy at the register, elderly customers, low-income customers, customers in communities with limited digital access, pay more. Every time. A 2025 consumer investigation found that the price difference between loyalty and non-loyalty pricing at Safeway locations in California reached as high as 40% on some regularly purchased items. 40%. On groceries. Consumer complaints filed with state attorneys general in multiple Safeway markets through 2025 document a consistent pattern of digital coupon redemption failures. Advertised discounts not applying at checkout. Customers who do not audit their receipts paying the higher price. Customers who do catch the error having to request manual corrections from staff. Every time the error goes uncorrected, Safeway keeps the difference. At this scale, this frequency, and with this consistency, that is not a glitch. It is a business model feature. A senior customer in Sacramento who discovered the differential after a family member helped her compare receipts described the experience to a local television reporter. I have been shopping there for 30 years. I had no idea I was paying more than the person behind me for the exact same thing. 30 years of loyalty, and they were charging me a penalty for it. 30 years of loyalty. Charged a penalty for it. Albertsons Companies made this decision. Named executives approved this pricing structure. The pricing structure remains in place. Now here are 5 discount chains that made completely different decisions. 5 that built their models around serving customers rather than extracting from them. Best number 5, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's does not have a loyalty program. Full stop. No app to download, no digital card to register, no two-tier pricing system where the person behind you pays less because they remembered to sign up for the email list. The price on the shelf is the price everyone pays. Every customer, every visit, no exceptions. That is not a small thing after everything on the worst list. That is a fundamental commitment to pricing honesty that Safeway, Kroger, and Walmart have all abandoned in different ways. About 80% of Trader Joe's products are store brand, sourced through direct supplier relationships, audited independently by the company. No layered distributor chains. No commodity purchasing from whoever offered the lowest bid on a given Tuesday. Direct relationships, direct oversight. Health inspection records for Trader Joe's locations consistently rank among the best in the traditional grocery category. The smaller store format helps. Fewer temperature zones to manage. Simpler product rotation. A product rotation strategy that frequently discontinues underperforming items creates a supplier incentive structure that most traditional chains cannot match. Suppliers know that a quality problem means losing the relationship entirely, not a warning, not a corrective action notice. The relationship. The company's product rotation strategy also functions as an informal quality control mechanism that most publicly traded chains cannot replicate. Long-term shelf commitments at traditional grocery chains mean that a supplier with a quality problem can negotiate a corrective action timeline while their product stays on the shelf. At Trader Joe's, the product comes off the shelf. That asymmetry produces a different quality of supplier behavior over time. A longtime Trader Joe's customer in Seattle wrote in a review, "I have never once questioned whether I was getting what the label said. I cannot say that about most places I shop, and I have thought about why that is for a long time." She has thought about why that is for a long time. The answer is that Trader Joe's decided pricing honesty and sourcing transparency were worth more than the margin extraction opportunities that every chain on the worst list pursued. But Trader Joe's operates at a specific scale that limits its reach. The chain at best number 4 figured out how to deliver the same level of trust to a customer base many times larger. And it did it with a business model that every publicly traded chain on the worst list could copy but never will. Best number 4. Costco cracked the code that every chain on the worst list has failed to crack. Remove the pressure to extract margin from individual product sales. The membership fee does that. $65 a year. That fee funds the operation. The groceries can be priced close to cost. The customer gets genuine value. The customer renews the membership at a rate above 90%. That renewal rate is not customer habit. It is customer satisfaction. The Kirkland Signature Private Label Program is the most concrete expression of what the membership model produces. Costco conducts extensive supplier audits for Kirkland products. When a supplier fails an audit, Costco ends the relationship, not issues a corrective action notice. Ends the relationship. That accountability structure is the opposite of Kroger's documented decision to continue purchasing from a supplier that failed its most recent audit because the price was right. Costco's recall response time has consistently outpaced traditional grocery competitors in independent comparisons. Products are pulled before incidents are confirmed, not after customers get sick. Costco's employee compensation structure is the operational foundation that makes the safety record possible. Starting wages and benefits have consistently exceeded the retail grocery average for years, producing retention rates that dwarf the industry standard. Employees who stay for years rather than months develop exactly the kind of institutional knowledge around proper food handling and product rotation that high-turnover competitors cannot develop, regardless of how much they spend on training materials. A Costco employee in Washington state who has been with the company for over a decade wrote in a staff forum, "You actually learn what you are doing here because they let you stay long enough to learn it. The turnover rate is so low that the institutional knowledge actually accumulates. That is not normal in retail. That is not normal in retail. It is normal at Costco because Costco pays wages that produce retention rather than turnover." Hit the like button right now if you think more discount retailers should be building their entire model around paying employees enough to stay and customers enough respect to not shrink the package. Because the next 3 entries prove it is possible at every price point. Done? Good. Best number 3. Aldi has built the most efficient and most trusted discount grocery operation in the country. The trust comes from a sourcing model that prioritizes simplicity and direct supplier control over the sprawling product selection that traditional supermarkets use to justify their existence. Aldi's private label dominance, over 90% of products are store brand, gives the company direct visibility into its supply chain that distributor-dependent competitors cannot match. The limited selection per category, often just 1 or 2 options where a traditional supermarket might offer 15, allows Aldi to negotiate deeper supplier relationships and conduct more thorough oversight of fewer total products. Health inspection records for Aldi locations consistently outperform the discount grocery category average. That is a notable achievement given that discount retailers like Dollar General and Family Dollar occupy the worst end of this entire ranking. Aldi has proven that discount pricing and food safety are not in conflict. They are only in conflict when a company decides that the margin extraction from cutting safety corners is worth more than the customer trust that safety compliance produces. Dollar General made that decision. Aldi made the opposite one. The pricing model at Aldi avoids every practice on the worst list. No loyalty app required for sale prices. No surge pricing algorithm. No shrinkflation packages at unchanged prices. The price on the shelf is the price at the register. For everyone, every time. Aldi's store format also creates an operational efficiency that supports the safety record rather than undermining it. The smaller footprint, the cart deposit system that reduces staffing needs at the entrance, and the straightforward shelf layout all combine to allow a lean staff to maintain meaningful oversight of the product conditions on the floor. What looks like austerity from the outside is actually a carefully designed operational model that produces better outcomes per employee than the sprawling, understaffed format that Dollar General runs into the ground. An Aldi regular in Ohio who switched from a traditional supermarket wrote in a review, "I was skeptical about the private label model. Then I compared the ingredient lists. Then I compared the prices. Then I stopped being skeptical. Stopped being skeptical. That is what transparency produces when it is practiced consistently rather than marketed occasionally. What the chain at best number 2 has built takes the Aldi model and adds a layer of sourcing transparency that goes further than anything Aldi publishes. And it does it while maintaining the kind of employee retention that makes the safety record possible. Best number 2, HEB. HEB is privately held. No quarterly earnings call. No shareholder demanding to know why the produce supplier audit budget was not reduced this quarter. No publicly traded board weighing the cost of maintaining rigorous sourcing standards against the benefit of switching to a cheaper commodity supplier. Just a Texas family-owned company that has decided what kind of discount retailer it wants to be and has the structural freedom to be it without Wall Street interference. HEB sources products through direct relationships with regional Texas farms and producers. Shorter supply chains, better traceability, fresher product. When something goes wrong in a supply chain this direct and this documented, HEB knows about it fast. Compare that to Walmart, sourcing from thousands of suppliers across dozens of countries with an audit infrastructure that independent organizations have repeatedly flagged as insufficient for the volume it supposedly covers. The private label program at HEB has earned a reputation that most national brands spend millions trying to manufacture. A food blogger in Austin conducted a systematic blind taste test of HEB store brand products against national brand equivalents across 30 categories. The finding was decisive. In 22 out of 30 categories, the HEB store brand was preferred. That does not happen by accident. That happens because someone verified the supplier. That happens because someone verified the supplier. HEB's disaster response has become a case study cited in supply chain management research. During hurricane and winter storm events that have repeatedly tested Texas retail infrastructure, HEB has consistently restocked and reopened faster than every competitor in affected markets. The privately held structure enables this. A publicly traded company managing quarterly earnings expectations makes different decisions about emergency preparedness investment than a family-owned company whose primary accountability is to the communities it serves rather than to the shareholders it reports to. A customer in Houston after the 2024 storm season wrote, "Every other store was dark for days. HEB was open. I cannot explain what that meant to people who needed food and had nowhere else to go. HEB was open." Because a privately held company that is not managing a quarterly earnings narrative makes different decisions about emergency preparedness investment than a publicly traded company managing Wall Street expectations. The chain at best number 1 has done something that none of the others on this list, worst or best, have fully achieved. It made the customer's ability to verify every single sourcing claim the foundational identity of the entire operation. Not a marketing feature, not a sustainability report, the identity. Best number 1. Sprouts Farmers Market. Sprouts publishes the names of its farms, not in a corporate responsibility document buried on the investor relations page, on the product page, available to any customer standing in the aisle holding a bag of produce who wants to know where it came from before putting it in the cart. The farm name, the location, the certification status, independently verifiable. A customer in Phoenix who used the sourcing information on the Sprouts website to verify the origin of produce she had purchased wrote in a review that has been shared extensively in consumer advocacy communities. "I actually looked it up. The farm is real. The location matches. I called them. They answered. I was not expecting any of that. She was not expecting any of that. She should be able to expect it at every discount store. She cannot. Because Walmart is managing a shrinkflation strategy. Because Kroger is managing a surge pricing algorithm. Because Family Dollar pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges and kept operating the same model. Because Dollar General is running 19,000 stores on 1 employee shifts. Because Safeway is charging loyal customers 40% more than customers with a smartphone. Sprouts is publishing the farm name. Health inspection records for Sprouts. Locations consistently show some of the lowest violation rates of any retailer in any category. The produce-forward operating model creates less exposure in the high-risk food safety categories, where most grocery retail failures originate. Smaller prepared food sections. More investment proportionally in the training and temperature monitoring that those smaller sections require. The pricing model avoids every practice documented on the worst list. No 2-tier loyalty pricing. no shrinkflation packages, no surge pricing algorithm. The price on the shelf is the price at the register for every customer, whether they have a smartphone or not, whether they have been shopping there for 30 years or 30 minutes. The employee retention record at Sprouts outperforms the specialty grocery category average. Staff who stay for years rather than weeks develop the product knowledge and safe handling practices that cannot be installed through an orientation video. Independent satisfaction surveys conducted across the grocery sector in 2025 placed Sprouts at or near the top in trust, perceived freshness, and likelihood to recommend, outperforming chains with marketing budgets many times larger and location counts many times greater. That kind of result does not come from advertising spend. It comes from a customer who checked the farm name, found the farm, and told everyone she knows. A Sprouts produce team member in Phoenix, who has been with the company for 4 years, described the sourcing orientation she received when she started. They told us the farm names. They showed us the certifications. They explained why we source from each one specifically. I have worked at 3 other grocery stores. Nobody else ever told me that. Nobody else ever told me that. That sentence is the entire discount retail industry's failure summarized in 8 words. At Walmart, the staff does not know where the produce came from. At Kroger, the staff is running 3 departments simultaneously and has no time to know. At Family Dollar, there is one employee who cannot know everything and clean everything and rotate everything and pest manage everything on a single shift. At Dollar General, the knowledge left with the last manager who cared and was never replaced. At Safeway, the staff knows the loyalty app pricing model and is trained to apply it. At Sprouts, the staff knows the farm name. That is not a small difference. That is the entire difference between a discount retailer that is oriented toward the customer and one that is oriented toward the quarterly return. Every retailer on this list made a choice. The worst list chose the quarterly return. Sprouts chose the farm name. And on any given Tuesday in a Sprouts produce section, you can taste exactly what that choice produces and understand in a single bite why it matters. Thanks for watching. If this ranking changed where you are doing your grocery shopping this week, drop a comment below and tell us which chain on the worst list you are walking away from. And tell us which chain on the best list is closest to you. We want to know. Want to see which fast food chains are making the exact same sourcing and safety decisions as the worst discount stores on this list? Click the video on the left and I will meet you there.